Tsugumi, on the other hand, joins her father on several of his trips to hunt down people who are Ayama's clients. She also provides information to him willingly. She isn't always proud of her father and does throw things at him when he says and does things that she considers perverse and sexist. She doesn't completely share her father's views that Ai should be stopped, and there are even a few arguments where she states that Ai is giving people the punishment they deserve. She later is challenged by Ai to send her father to hell. Tsugumi becomes even more of a prominent character in Season 3. She is voiced by Nana Mizuki in the Japanese version and Lucy Christian in the English version. This anime is more action-oriented and story-driven rather than character-driven, so there isn't real opportunity for pairing shipping. I have, however, seen Hellgirl fanfics involving Moku and Ai as a pair. Insofar, I haven't really seen any probability of that. However, I do think that Honiona and Moku do have some potential as a pairing because they are often paired together during missions. However, this can also be construed as a almost sibling relationship. The first 7 episodes of this series are standalone and can be played in virtually any order. However, if any of these episodes should be played absolutely first, then this one would be it, as it introduces the viewer to Ai and her 3 servants. The episode starts off at an all-girls private school which had been gathering money for a community donation. The money had been handed over to a girl named Mayumi Hashimoto, played by Laura Bailey, for safekeeping. However, at the end of the day, Mayumi finds the money is missing. Aya Kuroda, played by Lucy Christian, one of Mayumi's classmates, offers to lend Mayumi the money to cover the missing donation. When Mayumi pays Aya back, Aya coldly informs Mayumi all she had been doing was paying interest and continues to extort money from Mayumi. This abuse goes on for quite some time, and as things progress, Mayumi finds herself being forced to do things that ruin her school reputation. She even becomes so fed up she contacts Hellgirl. Ai appears to Mayumi when Mayumi is about to kill herself in a fit of despair. The next day, Aya sends a picture of Mayumi flirting with an older gentleman to the school office. Angered with Aya's endless torture, Mayumi pulls the thread on the one Yudo totem she had been given. Turns out Aya had stolen the original donation money. However, when she is confronted, Aya insists she wasn't doing anything wrong and she only was messing with Mayumi. For an introductory episode, I felt this episode was very well done. Ai having a more drawn-out appearance compared to the more sudden appearances of future episodes really did affect the suspense of the story. I don't believe hazing can really count as something that was truly worth sending someone to hell over, yet with the way the abuse and torment goes from something as minor as extorting money to ruining a poor girl's reputation, things really do go far beyond the normal schoolyard bullying. I'm sure many people who have been teased at least once in their lifetime do have some understanding for Mayumi's predicament. For example, like many people, I have been a victim of hazing in my lifetime, and yes, there were times I wished the people doing these things would just disappear off the face of the earth. In Aya's case, the continued abuse and her insistence that all she was doing was kid stuff does lead the viewer to believe she really did deserve to be taken to hell. As for Mayumi, however, one would assume she is a model student if she is given the role of class representative, so wouldn't it have been logical for someone to wonder if she had been taking pride in being a respected member of the student body, why she is suddenly doing these things like hitting on middle-aged men downtown? Couldn't a teacher have asked her if something was going on, because they knew she was a good student and she would have known that something like that would have soiled her student record? The homeroom teacher had 2 opportunities to ask Mayumi if there was something she needed to talk about. However, the first time he just excuses everything as rumors and informs her the staff is on her side. And the second time, when Mayumi does try to explain her side of the story, the teacher just tells her he didn't want to hear her excuses and that she should be ashamed of herself. And what about the other classmates? When Mayumi comes to school after being punched in the face, one student does ask what happened to her, only for Mayumi to run away from her. Wouldn't the other classmates have wondered what was going on between Mayumi and Aya? Or did they just assume Aya was just being friendly to Mayumi? These are questions that were probably meant to be brought up by the viewer. However, this episode just goes to show how you could push someone too far. The next episode begins with an unknown person making a call on his cell phone. The girl he's calling, Ryoko Takamura, played by Monica Riel, hurriedly signs onto Hell correspondence and types "the man who's stalking me" into the text box. The next day, Ryoko's father goes to complain to the police about how this person has been tormenting his daughter for over a year, and the police have done nothing to find this person. Detective Koichiro Kisaragi, played by Sean Hennigan, tells Mr. Takamura that his partner is suspected. However, the case is delicate and one wrong move could ruin the whole thing. Mr. Takamura takes Ryoko to school, promising to pick her up when class is over. Hours later, he sees the suspected detective standing in front of the school. Mr. Takamura gets out of the car to teach the offender a lesson but finds the man is actually dead before he himself is attacked from behind. Ryoko gets into her father's car and is surprised to find Detective Kisaragi in the car instead of her father. Turns out Detective Kisaragi was stalking Ryoko and insisted he does this because he's in love with her. In fear, Ryoko pulls the thread of the one Yudo doll she had been given. On cue, Moku appears and rescues her. Wanting to punish Ryoko for betraying him, Detective Kisaragi goes to the hospital to slay her. Ai, however, drags him to hell. This is an interesting episode as it has a person who's obviously schizophrenic, or at the very least delusional, which is a cliche that can be found in some horror and slasher flicks. I don't feel the situation in the episode is completely explained, however. All we hear is Ryoko's side of the story, where she's informing Ai and her servants that first it was love letters, and eventually weird presents, which include a bouquet of dead and wilted flowers, a dead hamster on Ryoko's birthday no less, a doll with no head, a box full of dead insects, and a gothic Lolita dress. Also, the children's song Kisaragi sings at the episode is creepy enough to let the viewer know that he is up to no good.
Little kitty, little lost cat, where in the world is your home at?
I know in stories such as this, the villain's reasons aren't always explained to the effect that some viewers would like, though it would have been quite interesting to see how Detective Kisaragi first got the idea that Ryoko was in love with him, because there is always a trigger of some sort, such as a glance or a smile he believed was directed towards him. Or maybe Ryoko resembled a girl he had a crush on at some point in time, and kept transferring the former girl to Ryoko, which would give some explanation as to why he was so upset that his efforts were not making her happy.